Hello, I'm Matthew McKibbin. Welcome to Bedtime Stories. Thank you for enjoying my previous bedtime story video. I hope you all had great night's sleeps. So today I'm back with another bedtime story video, and I'm going to read to you guys this Thomas the Tank Engine 5-minute storybook. And our first one is Busy Engines. It was a special day on Sodor. The railway inspector was coming to inspect Sir Topahat's railway. Thomas, you should be shunting coal trucks when the inspector arrives, says Sir Topahat. He wants to see busy engines. It's very important. Thomas went to find some of his engine friends. He wanted to ask them for help shunt trucks. He popped to Martin Station. Percy was there waiting for the mail. Hello, Percy, peeped Thomas. Will you come and shunt coal trucks with me? The inspector is arriving soon, and he wants to see busy engines. Percy was supposed to deliver the mail, but he did not want to help Thomas, too. He did want to help Thomas, too. Percy was uncoupled, and away he whooshed. And where did the inspector go first? To Martin Station. When the inspector arrived to check on things, Percy wasn't there. The inspector was not very pleased. Ooh. In the meantime, Thomas hopped to the quarry, where Mavis was waiting to pull some slate trucks. Will you come and shunt coal trucks? Peeped Thomas. The inspector is due to arrive, and he wants to see busy engines. Mavis had a lot to do, but she decided to help Thomas too. And where did you think the inspector went next? The quarry. When he arrived at the quarry, Mavis wasn't there. Uh-oh. The inspector was not pleased at all. Thomas was chuffing cheerfully back to the docks. Percy and Mavis had already shunted a long line of coal trucks. They knew that the inspector would be so pleased. Then Thomas heard Gordon's whistle go beep as he delivered the inspector to the docks. We must look busy, Thomas said urgently. So Percy shoved and Mavis shunted, and the coal trucks biffed and bashed together. And then, oh no, coal dust flew down Gordon's funnel. It made him sputter and splutter and cough. The dust flew back onto his funnel and landed everywhere. Sir Topahat was very cross. What's going on? He shouted. Thomas, what have you been up to? The inspector is not pleased at all. Poor Thomas. He felt terrible. Thomas knew he had to make things right. He heaved and hauled Gordon to the steamworks for repair. Soon Gordon's funnel was fixed, and the spire box was roaring away again. Thomas steamed back to the docks. He was ready to be a very busy engine. He shunted and shoved until all the trucks were in the right places. He was so busy that he didn't notice that Sir Topahat and the inspector were watching him. You've been a very busy engine, the inspector said to Thomas. Next time, Thomas, said Sir Topahat, remember that you can be a busy engine all by yourself, and a really useful one too. "Oh, I will, sir," Thomas replied. "I certainly will." And he beamed from buffer to buffer. The Lost Pup. One day, Sir Topham had told the engines that there was some damage track on Catford Bend. All the engines on the railway listened carefully, except Paxton and Thomas, who were laughing at the antics of a duck that was waddling towards the sheds. "May I remind you two, in particular, not to be silly?" Sir Topham had said sternly. "You must pay attention. I don't want any accidents." A little while later, Paxton arrived at the broken track. As he rolled over it, it rattled his radiator, making him laugh. "That was fun," he said, grinning. When Thomas arrived at the bend, Paxton got him to try it too. "Woohoo!" Thomas said with a giggle as he bounced along. "Get up some speed and go over it really fast," Paxton suggested. So Thomas raced backward around the corner and, oops, bashed right into Toby, who was filling up at the water tower. Water splashed all over and all over Thomas. It put out his firebox. "Oh no!" Paxton cried. "Sir Topham had told me not to be silly, but I was, and now there's been an accident." Paxton rolled away quickly and quietly to deliver his trucks to the shunting yards. When Toby arrived at the shunting yards, Paxton heard him tell Stamper that Thomas had lost his pup. That sounded serious. Paxton decided that he would go and look for Thomas's lost pup. He would find it. He raced along, looking all around, but he didn't really know what to look for. Then he saw a puff of steam and raced after it, but it turned out to be just Gordon pulling the express. Next, Paxton spotted a fluffy white cloud in the sky. "That must be Thomas's missing pup," he said as he hurried towards it. Paxton followed the cloud all the way to Alfred's castle, where he met Stephen. "Hello, Paxton," Stephen said. "What are you doing here?" "Thomas has lost his pup, and I thought that might be it," Paxton told him, looking up at the cloud. "Up there? That's just a cloud," Stephen replied. Paxton felt rather silly. He sped away as fast as his wheels could carry him. Paxton realized he didn't know anything about a steam engine's puff because he was a diesel engine. But he knew someone who did know about steam engines, Victor, whose job it was to repair them. Paxton hurried to the steamworks to find Victor. He asked Victor if he had a spare pup for Thomas. This made Toby, who was at the steamworks for repairs, laugh. "The pup just means steam," Toby explained to Paxton. "When Thomas bumped into me, his firebox got wet. Steamies can't make puffs when their fire goes out." Once again, Paxton felt silly, but he cheered up again when he realized that Thomas would be fine, just as soon as his firebox dried out. As Paxton sped back to the water tower, he heard a cheerful beep, and there was Thomas puffing around the corner. You're okay, Paxton said happily. Yes, I found my lost pup, Thomas joked. At least I learned something today, Paxton said, smiling. That pup just means steam, asked Thomas. Yes, Paxton said, still smiling. But also that when Sir Copperhead tells me not to be silly, I shouldn't be silly. And Thomas wholeheartedly agreed. Thomas and Scruff. Thomas's friend Whiff worked at the waste dump on the island of Sodor, biffing and bashing trucks full of trash. Keeping Sodor clean and tidy was a lot of work. It was a very important job. One day, Thomas went to tell Whiff some good news. I'm fetching a helper for you, he peeped. Whiff was very excited to hear this. Thomas steamed to the docks to meet Scrub, the sculptor. Hello, Thomas, Scrub chopped. I can't wait to scratch some trash. Thomas liked Scrub. He thought he was very nice, but he also thought Scrub looked very dirty. An idea flew into Thomas's funnel. He asked Scrub to wait right there for a special surprise. And Thomas chopped away to gather some brushes and buckets and soap and sponges. Back at the docks, Thomas showed Scruff the surprise. With a splish and a splash, you'll be clean in a dash, he peeped. But Scruff was scared. He had never seen soap or brushes before. He did not like this surprise at all. With a clickety-clack, Scruff whooshed away and hid in a siding. Thomas realized that Scruff was scared of being washed. Please come out, Scruff, he called, but Scruff refused to come out of hiding. Thomas asked Gordon to see if he could get Scruff out of the siding. Scruff, would you like to see my express carriages? Gordon asked. They're green and very grand. But Scruff didn't want to see the carriages. He stayed right where he was. Next, Thomas asked Henry to try. Scruff, would you like to help fetch my special coal? Henry huffed. It makes me fast and fearless. But Scruff didn't want to fetch a coal. He was not going to come out of that sight. After that, Thomas asked Percy to give it a try. Scruff, would you like to pull my mail trucks? Percy peeped. They're packed with parcels. But Scruff didn't want to pull the mail trucks. He just stayed put. Finally, Thomas remembered one thing that Scruff did not want to do. Scruff, would you like to go and scrub some trash at the waste dump? Thomas asked. You don't have to be clean for that. When he heard what Thomas said, Scruff reached quickly out of the siding. He was ready to go. Thomas and Scruff steamed off to the waste dump, where Whiff was waiting for them. Scruff looked around at the dirty dump. I'm going to like it here, he whistled. There isn't any soap and no water and brushes either. He laughed happily, and Thomas and Whiff laughed with him. Well, what'd you think of that? Scruff did have fear about soap and water. He thought he had to be clean to collect trash, or deal with trash, but he didn't have to. And for that, he picked out a hiding place on the siding on the island of Sodor. You know, sometimes we find ourselves hiding places when we get scared of something. Like if we, like for example, and I could explain some of my hiding places that I think I can remember. So, one time when I was watching the ending credits on Elmopalooza, which is a Sesame Street program, I was scared of that that dark thing that was covering the camera. Like, I didn't know what it was because I was still a kid, but as I got older, I decided to look at it again on YouTube, and you'll never guess what I found out. It was really a cameraman's hand blocking the camera. And I didn't realize that at first, but now I know, and that helped me feel a lot better. You know, at first we would feel fear, but after looking at the situation again, or more than one time, you would probably have this feeling in you that you're ready to face your fear. We all must face our fears no matter what, and that's normal to always face our fears, because if we face our fears, then we would feel a lot better somehow. Thank you for tuning in to today's bedtime story video, and what Shelley Duvall said, when you write stories, you can make believe anything, and when you dream, you can make believe anything too. So I hope you all have sweet dreams, and hope to see you next time.